A warm welcome to everyone from Excel and Excel. Hope you all are safe and doing well. Thank you all for enrolling in this event. Excel and Excel welcomes you all. For those of you who don't know about Excel and Excel, here's a gist. Excel and Excel is a data analytics firm that solves high-impact business problems using data and technology. We provide end-to-end services in the field of data analytics and data visualization. Our core services include analytics, consulting, and training. Excel and Excel presents the popular talk show EIE Fresh Talk on its YouTube channel, where it hosts great leaders and subject matter experts in various fields from India and abroad to speak regularly on a variety of topics ranging from Excel to analytics and finance to financial modeling and many more. Some of our past events are Data Storytelling using Power BI by Pranjal Dubey, Best Practices for Data Model Size Optimization in Power BI by Nicola Eilek, Data Visualizations and Insights from Power BI by CA Deepak Singh, and HR Analytics using Power BI by Banu Kumar. We're also happy to share our website EIE Fresh Talk by Excel and Excel has been selected as one of the top 5 Microsoft Excel podcasts on the web by feedspot.com. We are also happy to share the first ever annual gathering of Microsoft Excel Global Community, which is planned from 6th to 9th February 2021, the Global Excel Summit, a 4-day event with 17 plus speakers and 1,000 plus attendees. Learn from the top excellent practitioners in the world, connect with people in all lines of business, and last but not the least, excel with masterclasses. We are proud to share that Excel and Excel is associated as a media partner for the Global Excel Summit. Use the promo code Excel and Excel and get special prices on various products and courses. Joining us today, we have our speaker for the day, Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael is a financial modeler and a business data analysis specialist. He is a certified advanced financial modeler, a chartered stockbroker in Nigeria, and a member of UK CISI. He has been awarded as a Microsoft MVP Most Valuable Professional more than 6 times from Microsoft. It is the highest recognition that Microsoft gives an industry expert. He is also certified trainer with MCSA BI reporting, MOS Excel 2013, and MOS Excel 2010, and other expert professional certifications. Prior to becoming a full-time consultant, he worked as a service delivery manager for 21st Century Technologies, business and MIS analyst for Comviva, Airtel Africa CRBT operations, and as a BSS engineer for Nokia Siemens Network. We welcome you, sir. It's a pleasure having you with us. Before we begin, I request participants to join me in welcoming today's speaker with a hi in the chat section. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box. We will later present it to the speaker. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope you all hear me loud and clear. And today's session, I'm going to do something I hope you'll find very interesting. So I'm going to show you how you can use Google Sheets, which I know many people already use in making it easy for people to collaborate seamlessly online. Though there's also the Excel online version, but I noticed that people use Google Sheets a lot. So today I'm going to show you how with the Google Sheets you already use, you can be able to automate analysis on the data that you already collate on Google Sheets. So I'm going to show you on both Excel and on Power BI. I'm going to share my screen now. So, okay. So what I'm going to share with us, by the way, I'm monitoring the chat box. If any moment you do not, if at any point you do no longer hear me or you need me to do something, maybe speak louder or adjust my camera or my screen is not showing, I'll greatly appreciate it if you let me know. And also our hosts too, if you can also maybe unmute and say, so I don't I don't make assumptions. All right, so this is the kind of end-to-end of what we are going to do. So I have here already the demo data. So imagine that you work for, this is very common. Today, I still had a meeting with a client in the oil and gas, and what they were to do is very, let me just drag this away. What they were to do is exactly similar to what I'm going to demonstrate to us. So they want to be able to collate data across different departments, and have those people in the heads of departments to upload all those data on Google Sheets, which is very easy for them because every department can fill theirs, and as the departments fill theirs, other departments fill theirs, and everything is just there, unlike Excel file or any other file in your PC where the department will have to fill, send to the central unit that collates, and then, so those processes are going to be not so smooth if it has to be offline. So it's better it's on cloud, right? So they could do on Excel, on Google Sheets, and it's also possible to do on Excel. So I'm going to demo with Google Sheets because that's what I've indicated in the title. So imagine that this is this is Ajay's pizza restaurant. So Ajay's pizza restaurant has operations in 5 branches in India. I hope I got these cities right. So it has a branch in Mumbai, in Pune, in Chennai, in Hyderabad, and in Delhi. Okay. So all of these branches, every day, they fill in the data that they have. So let me try to reduce the screen size. Good. So every day, they fill in their sales data in here, right? So how can Ajay have an automated system where, as the different branches fill in their sales information, their transaction data on the Google Sheets, right? Instantly, it is picked up in an analytics as a report in Power BI, also in Excel if you want to use Excel. So how can we go from here, from Google Sheets, this daily updated, so it's changing. And as it changes, this is going to be updated. And not just that, it's going to also have the advantage of it being rendered with a daily refresh. So you could set it to refresh maybe every, let's see, maybe every 7 a.m. So before work starts, he's able to see the report, and then every day he's seeing what has happened in all of his branches, and he's seeing the sales report without having to hire an extra person to do that. Okay, and it's automated. So that's what we are going to achieve right now. So I'm going to go to Power Query. So I'm Power BI, though we're going to use Power Query, but let's launch it from Power BI. So I'm going to demonstrate first with Power BI, then we'll go demonstrate with Excel. So I'm going to create a new, so let's say I've not done it at all. How am I going to do this from beginning? So I'm going to create a new, so I'm trying to launch Power BI afresh so that we can do this together from scratch. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. We are going to attend to them. Okay, so this is Power BI as we know. So I'm going to start from a blank slate. So let me try this out of view. So starting this from a blank slate, I am going to say I want to bring in data from Google Sheets. Now, bringing in data from Google Sheets, you're not going to see it as an option in here. So what we have to do is to go to the Google Sheets, and then we are going to grab the share link. So let me do that. So I'm going to go to share and grab the link of the Google Sheets file. So one thing you need to also be very cautious about is that in doing this, in grabbing the link, you need to set the access to anyone with the link. So by default, the access is always restricted, where you have to explicitly, share with someone via an email, right? So for this to work, you need to first of all say anyone with a link. So this is like a downside. But if you use Excel online, you will not need to do that. Okay. So, but for Google Sheets, you will have to do that for it to work on Power Query, which is in Power BI and in Excel that we're going to use to demonstrate. So I'm going to do that, which I've set it now to anyone with a link. And then I'm going to copy the link, right? And I will now go to Power BI and say that I have a web link that I want to paste. So this web link that I'm going to paste, I need to do a small modification. If I paste this link this way as it is not going to work. So I need to do a modification. So that modification, I have arranged the modification here as steps. So that link that I've copied, right? The number one thing is, which we have done anyway, this one, we need to set it to anyone with the link. Now, the number two is, I need to knock off the edits. So I need to go here, take out the /edits question mark USP equals sharing. So I need to take that part out. And then in its place, I'm going to put /export and format equals to XLX and ID equals to, so I'm going to do that right now. I paste that in its place. And now what is the ID? The ID is this unique ID that has come with the link. So I'm going to grab that unique ID and paste here. So this is the modification you have to do. Once you've done this, then Excel will be, or Power BI will be able to pick the Google Sheets file. So I'm going to directly go back here and paste this very link and say, okay. And let's watch it do the connection. Okay, so it's working. So it notifies me that it can only connect to anonymous credentials. Don't worry, just say okay. And here we are. You can see that all of the tables, all the sheets that I have in my Google Sheets are reflecting here. So I have Chennai, I have, in fact, I'm going to quickly pick them all. So I have all those different cities where Ajay has his restaurant business, okay? So now that I've done this, I'm going to eat transform data because I want to do a report that is going to involve transforming those data in Power Query. So I'm going to want to consolidate all the data that comes from different branches. So I'm going to have them consolidated into one Ajay's restaurant sheet, okay, or table. So I'm going to click on transform data. And as I do that, it's going to open up in Power Query. So one other thing that I do on Power BI, which I'm quickly going to do immediately this loads up, is I disable automatic relationship settings. So I'm going to show you, we're going to do that together anyway. So this is loading, or this is ingesting into Power Query. Okay. And here we are, it's here. So I don't want to forget the disabling of the automatic data. I don't want to forget that. So I'm going to quickly go to File. I go to Options. I go to Options. And that's going to come up in a bit. So I go to Data Load and I say it should not auto detect new relationship. You see this here. This, I'm not going to enable it. I'm going to disable it. So in fact, usually I disable it here permanently, but for some reasons, I noticed in the new update, it's been removed from here. So it's now become a bigger challenge that you have to remember to disable it here. Okay, so once I do that, I'm going to carry on with my analysis. Okay, so I'm going to go to the data that has loaded into the Power Query, and I'm going to say Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Pune. Okay, all looks good. So I'm going to say I want to consolidate them all. I want to add them all into one giant table. So that is a append queries. And then I'm going to go to append queries as new. So append queries, but append queries as new. So once I do that, I'm going to see a window pop up. So this window that pops up, I'm going to tell Power Query that I've got more than 3 tables. I mean, 2 tables. I've got 3 or more tables. So I don't want to add Pune two times. So I remove it. And then I come in here and select all of these and add now. So with this now, I have added all those tables to be combined as one giant table. So it's going to start doing that. Okay, so it's done. I'm going to rename it. So I'm going to say, okay, instead of append 1, this should be AJ Pizzas or restaurant. So let's see. Anyway, AJ Pizzas. That is shorter to write. Okay, so I'm going to say, yes, this is what I want. I take another look at my data. Is there anything needing some changes? This is a number, serial number, date, branch, pizza sold, price, quantity. Time is looking like date, so I need to fix this one. So I'm going to say this is not, this is actually time and should not be written as date. Okay, so that is now looking good. So all looks good right now. So I'm going to need to load. So for me to load it, the moment I click on close and apply, it's going to load, but I do not want the branch tables. I only want the consolidated one. So what do? I'm going to right click and say, do not load for all the ones that are consolidated. So I disable load for the consolidated ones. So I'm doing that right now. Disabling load. I am disabling load. Okay, so now that I'm happy with what I have done, I'm going to do close and apply, and this will bring the data right into Power BI model. So we're going to see it within our usual Power BI environment. So waiting for that to come up. Okay, so with the data loaded now, I can see on the left side, sorry, on the right side, that only the AJ Pizzas table loaded, right? Okay, and if I go in here, I'm able to see the table with the data in it. All right, so let's see what are the things that need fixing in here. One, as you can see, I've got price, I've got quantity, I do not have the sales amount. So I have price, I have quantity, there's no sales amount. So I'm going to create sales amount as a new column. So new column, and once it comes up, I'm going to call it sales amount. Now I'm going to say this is equal to the price times quantity. Okay, and then I commit that so by pressing enter. Okay, so this is looking nice, but then again, I know that I would like this to show in a currency format. So without going further, I immediately come here and say I want to choose the currency format. So I'm going to look for rupees. I think I saw one. Yeah, this looks like rupee. Yeah. So this is one. I think you have a lot. So for India, there's a lot. There's Bangla, there's And I know this is the usual rupee symbol I see, so I'm going to pick this one, and that is going to work on that. Maybe since I'm there already, let's do same for the price. Right, so I think I'm happy with what I have done. I can begin to go to creating the analysis that Ajay would like to see across all his restaurant businesses in those 5 locations. Okay, so I'm going to call these sales reports. Okay, so let me just check if anyone has dropped any message in the chat box. So nothing there waiting for me. And so I want to start the report creation since I've brought in the data. Now I want to create the kind of report that Ajay would like to see so that he can every day he can know what is happening across all these restaurants in those 5 locations and across India, because maybe those are the only 5 locations he has operations in India. So I'm going to bring in Ajay's restaurant logo. So Ajay has a logo for his business. If I go to insert, if I go to image, and I bring in the logo, awesome. So you can see the pizza looks yummy, right? We're in business, huh? Make sure you patronize Ajay's restaurant. If you mention that you came in from the Excel in Excel webinar, you can get some discount, say maybe 10% from Ajay. He's a very kind businessman. So I'm going to now say, imagine this is your business, right? You're going to want to see over different times. You might want to say, okay, what did we do first week of December, or what did we do on a particular date, right? So I'm going to have to create like a slicer to make it possible for Ajay to be able to pick the timeline the time period he wants to see the report for. So that is not so difficult. All I do is I drag in the slicer, and then I'm going to put the date in the slicer, and voila, we have that. So I'm going to make it really wide and take it up there so that, okay, I think this is good. I'm going to deliberately set the background to not be there, so no background. Then I also want to see on the map all of our sales. So Ajay is going to be able to see which branch gives him the most sale for the period he has picked, right? So let's do that. So what do? I drag in a map, and with the map, I think it's better I put it to this extreme left corner. So let's say I put it here. We can always adjust it afterwards, but for now, let's say I put it there. And I drag the branch to location. So let's see that works. I drag branch to location, and voila, you can see something coming up. You can see the map of India already showing, and you can see that it's already put dots to identify those different places. That's awesome. I want it to be colored differently. So I want Chennai to be colored differently from Delhi, from Hyderabad, so I put that in the agenda. And then I want to see the total sales we have made. So I drag sales to size. And voila, we begin to see the branches giving us the most sales, giving us the larger chunk of the sales in really big sizes, and those ones not so much contributing in small sizes. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with what I'm seeing for now. Okay, and maybe I just increase this a bit. Okay, good. So that this is good. I'm going to give it a shadow. So I'm going to give it a shadow. And I'm going to give the title some formatting. So I'm going to say the title should be centralized, so Ajay's company color is this one. Maybe you call it pizza yellow. So its color is pizza yellow. So let's say its color is pizza yellow. Okay, and I'm going to change the title to sales by sales amount by branch. Let's say sales amount by branch or by city. So this is good. Then I want to see as a pie chart the contribution in terms of quantity sold. So I drag in a pie chart, and I say I want to see the branch as legends, but this time around by quantity sold. So we know the quantities that have been sold, well, relatively. So we see where we sold the most quantity, where we sold the least quantity. So this is looking like that. And again, I'm going to do some bit of extra formatting. So I'm going to add the shadow. I'm going to work on the title. So quantity by branch, let's just say quantity sold by branch. I'm going to make it center, and we're going to give it a background color of pizza yellow. Okay, so this is beginning to, I think Ajay should be happy. He's going to be happy when he sees this. All right, I'm going to just do some bit of formatting, arrangement. Okay, so with that done, Ajay will also like to see a table of each day, the total quantity sold and the total money made. So since I want to do that, I'm going to drag in a, okay, no, let me tweak it the other way around. Let's say you want to see a table of each day, then by the branches, the total sales made. Okay, so let's do that one. I'm going to put in a table, a matrix table. I'm going to resize the table. So I'm going to resize this table. I think this is looking good. Yes, this should do it for us. And I'm going to drag the dates to rows. So we see the different dates. And I'm going to drag the branches to column. So we see the different branches. And I'm going to drag the sales amount to value. So we're going to see how much we made, by the different branches on those days. And I don't want Ajay to need to scroll up and down to see for an entire month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the font size. So hopefully everything, all the entire 1 month fits in. So awesome, this is looking like it. Okay, this is good. I think Ajay is going to be happy when he sees this. Let me just take it a bit more to the okay, and let's do the same type of formatting we did. Let's go to the, I think that should be the row column headers. So I'm going to give it a background color of pizza yellow. Don't ask me what pizza yellow is. So I think this is looking like it. And then I want to let Ajay to see the quantities sold by those different, the total quantity sold across board, but as a column, as a bar chart, So let's do that. I'm going to add a bar chart, and then I'm going to add the pizzas on axis, and I'm going to add, you know what, let's show the money, because usually if you run a business, it's the money you're interested in. So let's put the money figure there. And I'm going to add a label. So I'm going to just add also that data label. I want to see a data label. So that way we can easily see the sales figure. And for the title, like as we've been doing, we color it pizza yellow. And I need to really make this look nice. So I'm going to say the sales by pizza. Okay. All right. So this is looking like it. I think Ajay is going to be happy. We've really done a really nice work in one-page report for him. There's nothing about his company he wants to see that he's not going to see in this report we have done for him. So I'm going to perfect the design by adding a shadow to this, adding also a shadow to this one. So it blends, it looks really like all well put together. So I think we've done a nice work for Jay. He's gonna be really happy. So I want to now share the report with him. So what do? I'm going to go to home and click on, just before I share, let me see. I can do something about this. I can make this look better. Okay, let's just leave it that way. Let's not stress ourselves too much. Okay. So I go to publish, and then it asks me to save. Yes, I want to save. So I'm going to call this Excel in Excel, J Pizza. Okay. So I'm going to put it in my workspace. So it is publishing. And voila, it is done. So I'm going to click on it. And it loads. So it loads. Okay. And this is what I'm going to share with Jay. So I'm going to come here. See, I want to share this report. I want to share this report. So I'm going to share it with him. Unfortunately, I do not have his I don't have his email. So let's say maybe this is Ajay. So say, okay, this is it. And I'm going to just say, dear Ajay, please find as requested the automated sales reports for all your branches across India. Regards, Michael Olafusi. And then I can even tell him that should expect our invoice. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to share that with him. And from this moment onwards, he's going to have access to the report. So our work is not yet done. This is not yet automated. You know why? If the figures here change, change means these are the sales as at the end of December. When January's figure begins to roll in, I don't want Ajay to call me and say, oh, Michael, I like the report you've done, but I'm no longer getting January sales figures in there. It's not showing. And then I will have to be again doing all of this all over. No, no, no. What I'm going to do is I will go right in here and say, I want this to be automatically updating by itself. So I'm going to scroll to, I need to reduce the font size here so things show better and easier. So I go here, I go to data sets, I go to the report I have done, I go to settings. And now that I'm in settings, I'm going to say that I want to configure refresh. So typically you will have to sometimes click on edit credential and set it as organizational and say sign in, and it's going to, detect that, oh yes, you have access to it. Then you're going to come in here to schedule the refresh and turn it on and say, okay, I want it to refresh every day. So Ajay is in India, so let's set the time zone to his time zone. Let's say it's in Chennai. In fact, see, these are where his branches are. So let's say it's in Chennai. Okay, so I want it that every 8 o'clock in the morning. So as soon as it gets to the office, you should see the updated version of the report. In fact, it's better I let it refresh before it gets to the office. So I set it to 7 a.m. and say, okay, 7 a.m. And I can also set it to towards the close of the day. So whatever has been posted to should be brought in. So let's say 4 p.m. So I want it to refresh. It should pick the new data and redo the reports. So with this done, then Ajay is going to be happy that he doesn't need to call me for him to access his sales report. So that is one very nice thing. Then in addition, uh, I might not even wait for Ajay to go launch, check this report in Power BI. I can tell Power BI that every day it should send to Ajay the report as an email. So what do? I go to subscribe, I say add new subscription, and I say, okay, I want you to email this report to Ajay. So you remember I've been using Faith as Ajay. So I'm going to say daily sales reports. So I'm going to say, dear Ajay, please find attached, because this will send as an attachment. Please find attached the sales report snapshots for today. Regards. So when I used to be an MIS analyst, you will say, oh, the MIS team. So it doesn't look like it's one person that is sending it. So it looks like it's an automated thing from the team. So let's just say I do likewise. And I say this should send, maybe weekly. It should send to him only on Mondays to Fridays. Maybe the restaurant or Ajay doesn't work on Sundays and Saturdays. So let's say maybe that's what we'll do. And then I'll make sure this sends after a refresh. So maybe this sends at 8 a.m. every day. And again, ensure it is set to Ajay's time zone. So I'm going to say this should go until almost forever. If you don't put an end date, it's going to stop after 30 days. So you have to put an end date there if you don't want it to stop after 30 days. Okay, so, all right, so this is it. I'm going to say save and close. And from this day onwards, Jay is going to have his reports sent to him every day by 8 a.m. And in addition to that, whenever the data is updated, Ajay is going to see it automatically picked in his reports. So that's what I mean by using Google Sheets, plus the Power Query we touched on, and then in Power BI to automate sales reports. So automate reports anyway, not just sales report, automate any report that you want to automate. So let me demonstrate how this is real time. So ready? So let's say this is another day, things have been put in. So let's go ahead in. Currently, this stops in December, right? So let me go to, let's say, for Mumbai. Some new sales has been generated. So we have additional sales. To save me time, I'm going to just drag, copy some bunch of values. I'm going to paste. Okay. And then I'm going to try and get the sequencing correct. Okay, great. So I'm going to change the dates. So I'm going to change the date for these new ones I added. So I'm going to say all of these sales happened in January. So this happened in January. So I'm going to just try to January 2021, January, and just put some random days. Between today is the 8th, right? So between the 1st and 7th of January. Okay, so I'm going to drag these down. Okay, so now we have some dates in here. I'm going to, okay. So we have some new data, right? How is this going to show in our report? Remember what I've said. We have set an automatic refresh here. We've already set a refresh here that every day at 4 p.m. and at 7 a.m. the report should automatically refresh, right? So we have done that. So what will happen is that at 7 a.m. and at 4 p.m., our report will pick those new updates and it will reflect it. But I'm in a hurry. I don't want to wait till then. I want to refresh it right now. Not a problem. I can come here. In fact, I can just, from this same place, do refresh now. Okay. So once I do refresh now, it's going to start refreshing. So I can check the status here. So it's working, it's in progress. Let's give it some couple more seconds. So it is completed. So what do? I go to my reports to go and check if it is being picked up. Okay. So usually, as it is with web browser kind of saves you need to refresh your view actually before you will be able to see it correctly. So I need to refresh so that it shows correct. So now see, it's already telling me that we now have data up to 7th of January, right? And I'm going to see that if I scroll here, I have those data that are for Delhi. All the other branches do not have data. If you take a look at my screen, let me just zoom. Zoom. Can you see? Can you see those transactions showing? They are showing for Delhi, the branch that we added it for. Okay. So that is why we call this full report automation. From this day onwards, they don't need me to do anything on this for the reports to be captured directly from the source data on Google Sheets. Okay, so now I want to demonstrate this using Excel. I'm going to delete this so that we have uniformity of data. So I'm just going to knock off these that are added. In fact, I'm going to delete those rows so that it doesn't look as if they are there at all. All right, so for Excel, maybe you can't use Power BI. Your company is not yet into Power BI. How can you do something like this with the same data in Excel? So ready? I create a new Excel file, an empty Excel file. So as we have done the other time, I'm going to have to go to data menu, say I want to bring in data from web, from web. Okay, so let's see, I do that. And the link, I need to grab the link. I think I should grab the link first before clicking on that. So let me go grab the link. So if you remember, I think I did that here. So if you remember how I did the changing of the link to make it to be this way. So I go here, I say from web, and I paste, I say okay, and it's going to connect to the Google Sheets. So as you can see, now I again have, I'm going to say I want to be able to select more than one. Okay, I go to transform data. Awesome. So similar experience, right? I go to append queries as new, append queries as new, just like we did when we were in the Power BI. So I do append queries as new. It's going to ask me 2 tables or 3 or more tables. So yes, 3 or more tables. I take out this one so I don't mistakenly add it twice. So, and then I bring in all of these, all, okay? And I tell it, okay, please consolidate them for me. And it's done that, right? And as we did the other time, I'm going to call these RJ pizzas. So this will be the consolidated table. And then I'm going to take a look at this consolidated table. Is there anything that needs a change? So I can see some issues that I need to work on in here. Issue number 1, this is not date, but time. So I set this as time. Issue number 2, it has come with some empty columns. So not a problem. I select them. So I select the empty columns. And I remove those columns. So remove these columns, remove columns. And this looks good now. Unfortunately, in Excel, you cannot do what we did in Power Query. I mean, in Power BI, where I said you should not load the individual tables from the Google Sheet, but just the consolidated one. Here, no, that option is not there. So I just have to load everything. I don't know why, because that option has been in Power BI for many, many months, like for years. So it shouldn't be a case of, oh, it's new. It has always been in Power BI. It would be nice if they have added it to Excel too. So now that I've brought in the table, right? So this is the consolidated product, table. I'm going to throw in a pivot table so that I can have that analysis as we have there before. As we have on the Power BI. So I throw in a pivot table. Okay, so as you noticed on even in the Power BI too, we had price, we have quantity, we do not have sales. So I'm going to create it. So I'm going to come in here and say I want to create a calculated field, which I'm going to call sales amount, and it's going to be equal to the price times quantity, and that is it. Okay, so I'm going to recreate the kind of report that it might not be exactly like it. Power BI is a lot more visual and has got a lot more interesting charts that we cannot recreate in Excel as easily. I'm going to do as much as I can. So I'm going to by the way, I hope I'm still visible. Okay, great. So I'm going to drag pizza. I'm going to drag the pizza in here, drag the quantity, and take this off, drag the quantity to here. And I'm going to do some changes to some things there. Why is it showing blank? No idea why that is happening, but not a problem. I can knock it off. So quantity sold, sales amount, and I want this to be formatted in currency. So I want this in currency in rupees. So let's go fish for rupees. I think this is it. I don't want decimal places. And voila. For quantity, I want it to be done in comma separation. So for quantity, I want it to be with a comma separator, but no decimal places. Did I do that correctly? 1000 separator, yes. Awesome. Then I want to bring in a timeline, just like we did the other for the Power BI one. So I'm going to insert a timeline for dates. Okay. Now I prefer to put it up here. So I'm going to drag the timeline here. Okay. Okay, so voila. Yeah, I think this is it. Then I want to add some graphs, right? So I'm going to also, to make it look really nice, I can turn off the grid lines. I can create a table effect. Well, let me not waste too much time on design. Let's finish with the structure. So I also want to see that type of that chart we did the other time, the pie charts. So that pie chart we had branch, and then we had quantity. Okay, so why am I having blank branches? So I think I need to go and fix that permanently in my analysis side. So if I go here to the Power Query, I can go check it out why I am having blanks. So I can tell it, please do not bring in any blank data for me. Okay, so I shouldn't have blanks. So I'm going to just close that because it's becoming annoying. It's becoming frustrating. So once I do that, this is going to refresh. Okay, and I can just, with that, refresh all. So you see the blank is gone. I don't even need to set a filter here anymore. Okay, good. So I'm going to say I do not want grand total. I want a pie chart. Okay, so I want the pie chart. Pie chart. I'm going to give it an outline of blue. I don't want field labels. And what other thing? In fact, I have a very nice format I like to use. So let me just do that straight away. I go to design, quick layout. I pick the first one. So that is good. I like to do this. Okay, so I'm just going to change this to quantity sold by branch. And I also want to put that table, that uh, bar chart. So bar chart. So the bar chart of the product and quantity. So bar, no, product and sales. Awesome. No grand total. I don't need grand total. Okay. So I go in here, I bring in the bar charts. I dump it on top of it. I try to make it look aligned. I don't need this anymore. Let me drag this away. I come in here, put this here. Okay. I set the outline to blue. I knock off the field labels, field buttons. I knock this off. I'm going to change this to sales amount by pizza. Okay. I'm going to adjust this a bit, format data series. I'm going to reduce the gap width so they become a bit fatter. They look starved that way, so I want to make them look healthy. Okay, so I'm going to add data label. Going to add data label. Not a problem. Data label. Where is going to be nice. Okay, so let's say outside end. This is looking really clumsy, right? Not a problem. As we did for the Power BI, I can tell it to be formatted in, I think these figures are billions, right? So I'll just put it in millions anyway, because sometimes if you select daily, what will happen, right? So I come in here, I say that this should be in currency. The currency should be, maybe I should format it in billions then. Okay. Now I'm getting confused. All right, we can always change it. So let me look for rupees. I think I'm seeing rupees there. So let me pick the one I've been picking all this while. So I'm going to say that I don't want them in millions or in those really large number. So I want it to show as in billions. Okay, so let me just show you what I've done. Came in here and I added 3 commas and I put a billion there. Voila. So they are showing now in billions. So I think this is nice. So I think I just should be happy with this. I'm just going to rename the sheet as sales reports. Okay. So now it can call it E-I-E-R-J pizza. I'm going to save this somewhere else. Oh, I'm going to have to retype that name. This can be very annoying in Excel. Anyway. Oh, okay, that's good. It didn't wipe off. Okay. So now we can pick a period and we will see. So I pick December. Now see. I think it's better I make this show in days. Awesome. So I don't want, yeah. So days kind of look like it. If we have time, we can begin to, make things look a lot more nice. But for now, this is done, right? So you can pick a date, you can pick a range of dates, and everything changes, right? So saved, and that brings us to the end of my demo. So any questions?
So far we have no questions. Participants, if you all have any questions, drop your questions in the question box. We will present it to the speaker.
Okay.
So can we just wait for 2 minutes while they just put in questions?
Okay. Okay. So while we are waiting for that, you see all these that I have done, it's also possible to do it with we wait see. Yeah, with Excel Online. And the advantage you get with Excel Online is you don't have to share the entire file, your Excel file, with anyone that has the link. So you can leave it without sharing. So if I want to do this with Excel, right? So let me show you how I can do this with Excel Online. If I'm using Excel Online instead of Google Sheets, I'm going to come in here and say I wanted to launch on open in desktop app. So this open in desktop app. Open in desktop app. It's going to pop up soon. Yeah, so it has come up. Then I go to file. So once I go to file, that is where I am going to see the parts, what I'm going to copy, the link I'm going to copy. So here I'm going to see the copy parts. Okay, so with this copy parts, I'm going to now go to, I can open a blank Excel file. Go to data, go to from web, paste the link. Now, when I paste the link, I have to ensure that I delete the web question mark equal to web, question mark web equal to 1. Let me show you what I deleted. See, when I paste, it pastes this way. You see this part here, I need to delete. So I take this off and do OK. So it's going to tell me to log in. Aha. So this one works with our access right. So that way, whoever I do not share it with cannot have access, right? So I'm going to log in using my organizational account. So I'm going to sign in with my company's account. So let's ask me to sign in. Yeah, sign in with this. Okay, so I connect. Okay, and you begin to see we are back to what we experienced the other time, right? So you can work also for Excel Online. Preferably, I use Excel Online because that way I don't have to share with anybody that I'm not supposed to share it with. Because Excel Online, it's Excel who owns the Excel and also owns Excel and own Power BI. So that way you get, confidentiality of your data. You don't have to expose it to anybody with the link, which is what we had to do when we were using Google Sheets. Okay. So, okay. Any questions yet? Okay. So I'm kind of done with my planned demonstration. So any questions?
So we have a couple of questions.
Okay.
What is the difference between Power BI and pivot table?
Okay. So Power BI and pivot table. It's the best way to explain it is that actually pivot table itself is a tool. So if you notice that in the in this one that I did, this one, yes, this. In this that I did, okay, I need to close this place. I need to close this one. Let me just close this card. I just wanted to use that for demo. Great. So in this that I did, I used the pivot table, right? I used pivot table to do this in Excel. Now this pivot table that I used here, right? In Power BI is also the same thing here. If you check here, let me zoom my screen. This is pivot table. In Power BI, it is called matrix table. And this is how you will know. It has rows, columns, values, and filter. Now let's go to Excel. If I go to Excel, can you see pivot table has rows, columns, values, and filter. So it's like again the same. Let me just circle it for you. Let's see. This is rows, columns, values, filter. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let me try and screenshot that. Got the right screenshot. Okay, and on Power BI, the same thing. I have a matrix table that's the same. My screen is, I'm doing too much at once. Okay, great. So I have the same rows, columns, values, and filter. And guess what? It is just one tool. This is the pivot table in Power BI. So Power BI itself is an analysis tool. It has many things in it. So there is pie charts, there's all these different charts in there, and there's pivot table, there's ordinary table too, right? So in Excel, there is pivot table, okay? So, but when you say Power BI and pivot table, it's not actually correct to compare the two because Power BI is a complete tool, it's a complete suite of tools that allows us to do what you feel you think is better to do in it rather than doing it in Excel. Whereas pivot table is just one tool in Excel that has also an equivalent of it in Power BI. So the equivalent of it in Power BI is that matrix I showed you. Okay, I showed us. So in this thing that I've done, for me to do all of this, I've used charts, which you will see. I went here to click on charts, to click on pie chart. I also did another kind of chart here. This is the ordinary pivot table. You might say, okay, I use the result of a pivot table to do a chart. Yes, that's the nature of Excel. For Excel, you have to have the analysis first before you put a chart on it. Unlike in Power BI, where I don't need to do a table to do a chart. I can just put in a chart and drag what I want to be on the chart directly into the controls of the chart. So that's my own way of explaining it. I hope it's clear for the person who asked. Okay, so thank you.
So we have many more questions. The next one, best method of creating calendar dates. and why we have not used this in dashboard.
Okay, so calendar date. You're right. I've not used it here, right? This is a demo anyway, so uh, I didn't want to do too much. But you're right. In real life projects, you will want to have a date table. So if I want to have a date table, okay, I go here. So if I go to new table, so come here, new table. So me, I call mine date table. Okay, so that's what I like to call mine. So I call it date table. And the usual DAX we use is calendar. So calendar, so typically for jobs I do for clients, they have a date they want to start the reporting from. Even if their data, like for an FMCG I'm working on some reports for, they have data going as far back as 1998, 1995, thereabout. But the management report they want to see, they want to start seeing from, say, 2018. They don't care about that far back, right? So what I usually do is, okay, the company wants to start seeing their report from 2018, then to today. So that's what I usually do. So I, start from the date they want. Some other times people do this other variant where instead of this, they say you should go and pick the minimum dates in the date field, in a particular date field. Okay, so there are different versions of what people do, but I've told you the one I usually do for real life work. I always know the date the client wants to go back to. Okay, and then I say it should stop at today. Okay, and then I do enter, and that is going to generate for me the date table. So now this date table that I have generated, I usually generate other things that I'm going to need. So I usually generate in addition, I generate it as, I generate the year, which is going to be year. It's just that I can't show you real client work. So you can see the output already, but I think I've got some few seconds or minutes. I can create them all here for you. So I create the year. I also create the month. Create month. Now that month is in number. I need the month that is in text. So I need a month that is in text. So sometimes I can just format dates, and I say this should be in text. I usually use 3 letters because that's the much more, it's a lot neater because you have a month that is May, you have one that is November that is really long and can really mess up arrangement of things. So I usually use the 3-letter ones. Then I create month year. Or actually, I usually arrange it as year month. So I bring the year before the month. And so there are two versions of this that I create. I create the one that is okay. Yeah, I know what to do. I'm going to do also month year. So this one is year month. I use it for sorting. Then I do the one that is month year. That's the one I place in table analysis. So months. again. This will now give us the month and then the year. So on the minimum, I do this. I also usually do quarters, so that's not difficult to add. I'm going to quickly just add that now. Quarter. Okay. So these are what I normally do on my Git table. So that way I get maximum flexibility, and then I just link, I go to relationship and link the two. So all this date table links to every table that has dates. But because this is a demonstration that I'm being time conscious, I didn't bother to take that approach. And also in this demonstration, it's not going to be any big deal, because the main reason you do this is so that the report is scalable. You can keep adding more, and it makes it easy for the report to expand over time in a consistent and in a database right way. Let me use that word. Okay. So that's that. Any other question?
Yes, sir. We have a comment and a question, sir. Well done. This is really brilliant. The question: can the final Excel report be viewed on a web page just by sharing the link with a friend?
Can the final Excel be? Yes, it can. But the problem is, so let me show us. Now I can save this. Anyway, let me do this. I can save this. I save it in, no, let me just go here. Save it on OneDrive. Save it in the cloud. So I can save it here in OneDrive and save. And once you save something in OneDrive, it's as if you've created a web accessible version of it, right? So which means that this report, I can grab a link, can come here, grab this link, send it to my friend or whoever it is you want to share with. So let's say you want to share with someone. And what the person does is paste the links. He pastes the link. Once he pastes the link, if he needs permission, it will tell him that he needs permission from you, and you will get a notification, you grant him the permission. So yes, but there are some clauses to it. So that's just the tricky thing. As you can see, this is the report and it's showing, right? Right. So let's go check it out if it will work as I've demonstrated for the other one. So say that I make a change somewhere. I make a change. Okay, great. So I'm going to make a change, maybe like we did before where we added new months, right? Or let's add a new pizza type so I don't stress myself too much. So I'm going to come in here and change all of these to basmati pizza. So I've created a new pizza type, basmati pizza. Okay, so let's go and see on the Power BI. On the Power BI, if I do a refresh, so if I come in here and I do a refresh now, and that is happening. So we'll come back to that. Maybe it is done. Let's check because it looks like it's really fast. Let's refresh the entire page. Okay, I think it's done. As you can see, can you see basmati pizza? So it's already showing that I have a basmati pizza as a product here. You can see basmati pizza. Okay, so great. Let's go check whether for the Excel, if that will happen too, the web one. So what do? I come here, I do refresh. See, I do not even have refresh option here. You can see there's no refresh. This is the limitation when you decide to share it as a web. But if I go to the Excel itself, not the web now, this one, this on my computer, if I right click, I want to zoom. Can you see I have refresh? And if I do this refresh, it's going to refresh for me, bringing the new data. So it's running on the background. And I think it is done. Let's just try to confirm if it is done. Yeah, you can see it's done. And now I have basmati pizza. Okay. And if I refresh my charts here, so if I come in here and I do a refresh of my pivot table and I do a refresh all of my analysis will refresh, and I'm going to have basmati pizza here. So you can see I have basmati pizza already here. So it works for the Excel on your PC, but on the web, you lose that benefit. So on the web, you cannot get that refresh. Someone has to go and refresh from here. So whereas for Power BI, once the thing changes, nobody needs to do anything. It's going to pick it up. So that's my answer. Any other question? Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. Also, sir, I understand that Power BI can pull in data from all sources. Is there a restriction to the sources that Microsoft Excel can pull data from? Example, a database table somewhere on a server.
Oh, your voice is very low.
Audible now, sir?
Okay. Let me try and okay. Okay. So please help me with the question again.
Also, sir, I understand that Power BI can pull data from all sources. Is there a restriction to the sources that Microsoft Excel can pull data from? Example, a database table somewhere on a server.
Okay, so the answer is all of the places that Power Query can pull data, Power BI can pull data from. So all these places that Power BI can pull data from, Excel too can pull data from them. Well, I think so. Or should I say almost all those places, Excel too can pull data from, because I have not done a manual comparison, but I think maybe all. So waiting for this to come up. You'll see these are all the places I can pull data from in Power BI. Even though I see some places that they don't look like the kind of places you will see in Excel. But I know that if I pull data from via this and I copy the code and I go to Excel and I just paste the code, most likely it will work because it's the same Power Query. So now if I go to Excel, let's do a small comparison. If I go to Excel and I go in here and I go here, and it's just that there is no one place that you just click and see all data sources as it is showing me there. It's broken down. So I have PDF, blob, JSON, as I have here, PDF, JSON. Then I have the next section of type of databases showing here. So Excel can pull from, all the popular databases. Let me use that word. So I don't think there is a restriction to what you can pick with Power BI, and then on Excel, you'll be able to pick it with Excel. I don't think so. I think you can do whatever you can pick with Power BI, you can pick with Excel. I might not be correct, but that's what I think. So that's my answer.
So one more last question. What's the relevance of Microsoft Access in the midst of all these? How would you blend the use of Microsoft Access and Excel to handle a project like this? Why and when will you use Microsoft Access?
You've the person has touched on a very, very interesting question. I mean, phenomenon. So you see, Access many years ago, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Access was like really, really popular. Even though I'm not a database person, at some point in my work, I had to move data from because I used to work with Conviva Airtel Africa, later became Tech Mahindra, and we used to, not even that one, it was the other job I got after. So we in the telecoms company used to get a lot of data that I couldn't put in Excel. So I used to take them to Access, then do some SQL analysis to get a summarized data that I bring back to Excel. But these days with Power Pivot, where I can access unlimited rows, like I've used Power Pivot for 12 million rows, you know. So I no longer need to use Access, even though I'm wanting to analyze in Excel. Then also Access is not really cloud friendly. Access is not cloud friendly. That is the main reason why Access has been fading. People nowadays, they want a database that anybody can connect to it from anywhere. Not that, oh, the access is on a particular person's PC. So the access is sitting in someone's laptop or someone's computer. If anything happens to that computer, boom, nobody can do anything with the data anymore. The same thing that is making people to no longer use on-premise database is also what is making Access to fade. And Access has never really been a very enterprise big tool. It was more of small businesses that used to use Access to create some applications. So I've even done some applications for some people where it was Access. We used to create like a database. Schools use it a lot to create student database, but it's always sitting on a computer, on one computer. So the moment the proprietor of the school says he wants to be able to access, log in when he's not in the school, maybe he traveled out or somewhere else, he wants to access the school database, he cannot. He has to maybe call somebody in the office who is right there and there to send him, So all those things were things that did not make Access to progress. Then Microsoft also has many other tools. They have cloud tools. So it was not, they didn't see any reason to, fix Access or market it anymore. They started marketing Azure. So Microsoft started marketing all the Azure database services, which are cloud-based. So that's another thing that worked against it. So Microsoft did not even try to fix any of those issues. Maybe Oracle, did theirs to try to create an online version, try to make things work, and but Microsoft just left Access as it is. That's my own observation anyway, and focused on creating another suite of product, Azure, which is cloud driven. So that's where pretty much everybody goes now. So what you will have done with Access, you would rather just do with Azure. And that's why you will see, before when you go to Excel, you will see it really large here. You will see connect to Access database. It's no longer there. Now, when I click here, what am I seeing? Azure, right? So that's the transition from Microsoft and the global trend too. So that's what has happened to Access. So right now, Access still does what it used to do. But the problem is the moment your client starts asking for online access, or ability to log into their DB from somewhere outside of their company, outside of a computer, you're in problem. You are going to find it difficult to do with access. It's just better to just go ahead and do Azure straight up. And everybody is beginning to ask that. People want to be able to say maybe you do this for a school. The different class teachers, they should be able to fill in the information directly. They don't have to send it to one person who is sitting in an admin office to be filling it, and nobody can see what he's doing. You have to go to that office before you can see. You pull it out and email it to you. Nobody wants that anymore. They want something that they can feel wherever they are. They don't have to be emailing or asking one person, and whoever needs to see report can see the reports wherever they are. So that is why access is fading gradually. So that's my own answer. Any other question?
So I think there are a lot of questions for the question and answer session, sir. And thank you so much, sir. It was indeed an
Thank
informative
you.
session. And on behalf of Excellent Excel, I thank you for sharing your wisdom. And I would also like to
Pleasure.
thank all the participants for being here. I hope this session was useful.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir. An announcement for all regarding our upcoming courses in the month of January. We have a course on robotic process automation RPA, which is a 40-mark course starting from 21st Jan, and Microsoft Excel Essentials, a 3-hour course starting from 23rd Jan. Interested participants can register from the link displayed on the screen. An announcement regarding our upcoming Fresh Talks. On 23rd Jan, we have a session on storytelling through visualizations by Nobel Fellows. And on 29th Jan, we have a session on the heart of DA functions and data types by Viola Day. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you in our next session. Do not forget to like the video, and for more updates, subscribe to our channel. To know more on EIU Fresh Talk, use the link in the description box. Stay tuned for more Fresh Talk. Have a happy weekend and wonderful day.